Hi, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's sunshine. McMinnville hit 32 degrees. The other reporting sites I looked at were more like 31, 30, 29. PDX, 30 degrees, which equaled my forecast high today. So with the sunshine, if you didn't live in an east wind zone, I thought it was pretty nice on my home. It was pretty quiet, but we still have those east winds gusting out of the gorge on the east side to about 40 miles per hour at times. And the wind advisory is still in effect for those gusty east winds racing out of the gorge into tomorrow morning for parts of the Portland metro area. But the big story tonight, and I bet why a lot of you are watching this video, is the ice storm warning issued by the National Weather Service. This is an upgrade of the winter storm watch. So basically, they've taken the winter storm watch. Now we're getting closer to proximity. The Weather Service identifying freezing rain as the main threat, and that gives us an ice storm warning. So here's the satellite picture. There's a very vivid low wrapped up here in the North Pacific, and you can see the front. Now, what it's tougher to see, but it's right in here. See where the clouds are kind of bowing out a little bit? It's going to be a developing low center out ahead of the main low, and that's a system that's going to zip into the Oregon coast tomorrow, throw moisture inland. We are still very cold. We still have east winds feeding Arctic air through the gorge into the valley. And that clash this time around, the temperature profiling sets up to outside of a morning flurry, being that it really should all be freezing rain until you get up into elevation. So this time we're not looking for big snow pockets. We're not looking for sleet. We're basically looking for freezing rain, which again is a raindrop until it comes all the way down and makes contact with a surface, being the street, the sidewalk, a tree branch, a power line, a mailbox, and then it instantly freezes into a sheet of ice. Now, the problem with freezing rain is that because the first bit comes down and instantly freezes into a sheet of ice, it's that things get difficult for travel almost instantly. It's not like a snowstorm where, well, it started to snow. There's just an inch or two out there. I think I'll be okay to get home. No, the second the freezing rain starts, everything becomes a sheet of ice and traveling instantly becomes difficult. So I've heard the National Weather Service say this, and looking at the latest models that have just come in, they still seem to say that at least in the North Valley, in the Portland area and up into Vancouver, it's going to be pretty quiet through the noon hour tomorrow. So if you can just rearrange your schedule to be off the streets and be home if possible by the noon hour, that's the best bet. That gives you a couple hours leeway to play it safe, because mid-afternoon, late afternoon, things really start to get icy out there. And again, this is coming up from the south to the north, like the storm we had Saturday. So we'll get some freezing rain down in Eugene first, and Albany, and maybe not Eugene, but certainly Albany, Salem, and then up into Portland. Okay, here is the ice storm warning in purple. Notice it does not include the beach. It looks like the coast is going to have enough of a southwesterly feed. The temperatures during the precip hours will be above freezing, and the beaches themselves will just get rain. Remember, over the weekend, Lincoln County Saturday had reports of almost an inch of icing in Lincoln City. This time it's just rain. Notice again, the ice storm warning still extends up into the Cowlitz County area, Kelso Longview, Castle Rock, extends up into Mount St. Helens land, extends in the gorge all the way to Hood River, and then extends up into the Hood River Valley. That's you folks in Parkdale. Once you get east of Hood River, it is snow, and the forecast for the Dalles, for example, is 2 to 4 inches of snow. And this winter storm, winter weather advisory, rather, which is this kind of lighter tone, I do want to let you know, I still think it's very possible that we see some sort of an icy mix in the Cascades all the way up to the snow level. So the natural snow level tomorrow is 45 to 5,000 feet at Government Camp. Government Camp could be 30 degrees. So this could be freezing rain all the way up to pass level at Government Camp. And then you have to get up to 5,000 feet tomorrow to find all snow. And the forecast over in Central Oregon and Bend also calls for an icy mix of accumulations of an inch or two on the ground of a mix of freezing rain and snow. Again, that's in the Bend area. Maybe there's some sleet over there mixed in as well. Again, that winter weather advisory for you folks starting in Central Oregon, 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon and going through the day on Wednesday. Again, the ice storm warning for the Willamette Valley in Southwest Washington, 10 a.m. in the morning until 4 a.m. But I don't think we have any preset problems until we get into the afternoon hours on Tuesday. Speaking of I-5 from Salem up to the north. So let's first take a look at the moisture coming in. And again, this is just moisture. It doesn't tell you what it is. It's just moisture coming in, okay? So this is tomorrow morning at 10 in the morning. We're still completely dry. Could be some light moisture ahead of this up into maybe Corvallis and Salem, but certainly the main moisture shield takes a while to get here. This is around the noon hour, and this is now raining up into Tillamook County. You've got light moisture spreading up into Aurora and the gray areas, some light moisture in Portland, but really still pretty light stuff. I think mid-afternoon, now here we are, see how quickly it fills in. This is 4 in the afternoon. So to me, that 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hour tomorrow, up and down I-5, Salem, Portland, Vancouver, is when things are quickly going to get bad with absolutely flat out freezing rain falling for most of us, with it being rain falling into ground temperatures that are above freezing. I'm forecasting a high of 30 again for Portland tomorrow, which would be freezing rain. And notice the yellow, there's some heftier rain amounts. And I'll go ahead and take this into Wednesday morning. Now, by the time we get to Wednesday morning at 4 a.m., now the moisture is breaking up, but there's still quite a bit of it coming in, including out into the Columbia River Gorge, over the Cascades, and into Central Oregon. So how much are we talking about? Again, this doesn't tell you what type of moisture. This is going to give you the amount of the batch of moisture available, okay? So this is Tuesday at 4 p.m. Quarter of an inch up into Portland, quarter of an inch up into the Albany area, and about the same through Salem. This shows, again, through 4 p.m. tomorrow, the precipitation is fairly light, but a tenth of an inch of freezing rain is substantial. And this may be a little slow. There could be some heftier amounts, I think, come in before 4 o'clock, because again, to me, the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock hour in there is when we expect things to take off. Now, as I play this, this would be 10 in the evening. Now, whoa, where we have freezing temperatures, this is heavy freezing rain icing. This is absolutely a sheet of ice. Half of an inch of ice, or moisture potentially down to Salem. Now, Salem, by midnight, could be in the 40s. More on that in a moment. So, but you can see if it's still freezing up in the Portland area, which I think it will be, at least in parts of the Portland area around midnight, that's over a quarter of an inch of icing now. Over 4/10 of icing out in the West Gorge. So again, this is pretty substantial. So before I show you the temperatures, let me show you some of the outputs for freezing rain, okay? This is what they call the North American model. This is how much we could have ending 4 o'clock Wednesday morning. Again, this is a Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning event. So this shows there was 16ths of an inch of icing in the South Willamette Valley. It shows there's potentially somewhere between 2/10 and 4/10 of icing potentially in Salem, about a quarter of an inch icing in Portland, about a quarter of an inch of icing out in the West Gorge. Okay. All right. We'll see if that comes true. This is the rapid refresh model, and that's about the same, right? Anywhere from a quarter of an inch in Portland to maybe some amounts that are closer to a half of an inch in the Mid Valley and up into the Coast Range. Again, driving up over the Coast Range, especially on the, or mainly, I should say, on the east slopes coming out of Portland is going to be an icy mess. Once you get over the Sunset Highway or the Sunset Summit in the Coast Range, for example, and go down the west slopes, you probably quickly run into rain and warming temps. This shows you that icy threat over in Central Oregon as well, Jefferson and Deschutes County, by a tenth of an inch of potential ice that would be mixed with potentially a little bit of snow as well. Weather Service has gone by this model in terms of what they're saying, a couple tenths of an inch to about a half of an inch of potential icing. Okay, here's the money map. The money map is the temperature map. Now, I'm really going to focus on Marion County, and you'll see why. So this is tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Down in Eugene, it's 44 degrees. No problem there. That's rain. Along the coast, we've got low 40s. There's 42 in Tillamook. No problem there. That's rain. A little bit cooler up in that story, but this shows 34 above freezing. But you've got 29 in Kelso, Longview, 29 in Portland. I'm forecasting 30 tomorrow. This is pretty much on my forecast number at 4 p.m. And then you've got the upper 20s down into Salem. By the time you get down south of Lynn County, now you've got some warming temperatures. But through 4 p.m., everybody's got freezing rain. Let me play this into, this would be 10 o'clock in the evening. Look what happens. We're in the 40s down in Eugene. Salem is now 34. I mean, the beauty with freezing rain, once you pop to 33, it's over. It's done. I mean, you either have rain hitting a freezing surface and freezing, or you don't. So that's the good news. You pull out a freezing rain event super quick, just the instant that the temperature bumps up above freezing. So if this is correct, about 10 o'clock in the evening, your threat in the central part of Marion County for freezing rain is over. and you'll be warming above freezing to 34 degrees. I think this is correct. In fact, look how warm. Let me go ahead and play this into 4 a.m. Look at that. Salem wakes up to 43 degrees Wednesday morning with rain and any ice long gone. This does show 32 out at PDX, so that's freezing rain into 4 a.m. And then you've got temperatures close enough to freezing in the Portland metro area that it's still a very legitimate chance that it's freezing rain. Now, typically to get significant icing for freezing rain, you want to be just below freezing. You want to be 30, 29, 28. That's the money zone for really bad ice. But this does show mid-20s out in the gorge. And let me go ahead and play this to, this will be 7 a.m. Let me go ahead and just play. Okay, this will be 10 in the morning Wednesday. Now, the models by 10 in the morning Wednesday have the Portland area warming up to 40 degrees, still showing ice in the West Gorge and snow east of the Dalles, and maybe an icy mix still up in the Cascades, all the way up to that 5,000-foot snow level. So this is what I don't know. Because again, we have east winds blowing out of the gorge, and we talked about this yesterday. So, I think it's going to be, Salem is going to be in the 40s when we wake up Wednesday morning, and I think that's a sure bet. But the Portland metro area, I think the reality is Wednesday morning, 7 a.m., I think we're going to have areas that are well above freezing and rain, and we're going to have some pockets where it's still 30 and freezing rain. Beaverton could be maybe 42 degrees at 7 in the morning, Wednesday morning, but Gresham is 28 and freezing rain. So certainly anything near and east of 205 in the main gorge outflow of eastern Multnomah and Clark counties is going to be the best bet for extended freezing rain. And I really feel like it's at least possible that we could have some of those pockets into the Troutdale Airport, for example, stay freezing rain all the way close to the noon hour. I mean, all the models are really heavily biting on, at least in the afternoon, warming takes place. The problem is this low that comes in Wednesday does kind of weaken and dissolve, which means there's not full confidence it's just going to plow. If it were a stronger system, it would plow right through the gorge. And we can almost give you a really confident timeline of when that east wind was going to flip to the south and to the west. But because the system weakens, it's tough to say. So I hope my notes on that make sense. A reminder, a really cold night tonight. We're still partly cloudy to mostly clear out there. These are current temps. 7 in Bend, 27 Portland, Salem, Eugene, 34 in Astoria. The coast will be warming up in Newport before moisture would roll in during the day tomorrow, so no concerns there. It's below 0 up in Pullman, -1. Wow. All right, Portland 7-day. Here you go. Here you go. We've got, that's the Waste Connections company calling me. I wonder if that means they're not going to pick up my my trash tomorrow. All right, 30 tomorrow. PM freezing rain developing in Portland. Freezing rain overnight. At some point Wednesday, mostly early morning for the majority of you. Some areas could linger into the noon hour or later before it switches over. I do have Portland eventually warming to 43. Then we got showers on Thursday. And I'm not really certain how much rain we get Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I've got a cold front coming in Friday night. That's heightened rain. I've got a cold front coming in Sunday. That's heightened rain. This is all generally a south flow with an east wind at times coming out of the gorge. So I'm actually wondering if we don't have some days in here where it hits 50. And I'm wondering if we don't have some days in here where it's really not that wet. But the modeling is kind of nondescript on that for now. All right. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It really helps me out. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. My weather site's portlandweather.com. I hope you'll bookmark that and use it. I think there's great information on it. It is my 7-day forecast that I put together. And for now, I'll wish you a good night, and we'll see what happens. Remember, get off the roads by noon tomorrow to play it safe on Tuesday if you can. I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. I'll talk to you soon.